Welcome into Hold My Banner. George Bilecki, joined by Ante Campbell. I'm out in Jersey, coming live from the best state that ever was or ever will be. My boy Ante Campbell's holding it down in Watertown back in our studios. Tay, the NBA draft is done. And to the shock of many, and I know the shock of you, and the excitement you're feeling as a Lakers fan, congratulations. You got the best prospect in the draft, LeBron James Jr.
Reformed Lakers fan. Reformed Lakers fan. All right, I'm
What
not
does
a
that
Laker.
mean? Wait. What does that mean? What does that mean? What is reformed Lakers fan? You
Like
said this on the last episode.
I'm not a Lakers fan anymore. That's for sure. You know what I mean? I'm out here just a general NBA fan, man. I love to watch good basketball. So, Bronny coming to the Lakers, we'll get into that, but I'm not a Laker fan. I just want that on the record.
These are not the Lakers you were born and raised watching.
No, not at all.
I feel that. I mean, I was a Nets fan growing up. I'm doing this from Jersey, and the second they dipped to Brooklyn, I said, F out of here. I'm done with you guys. And I've just floated through the ethos as someone that loves stars and individuals. And it's treated me well, my man. So you ever need someone to get out, vent to, got this. But hey, make sure to like, subscribe, rate, review this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're up on Spotify, Apple, Amazon Prime. We appreciate it. A ton of you subscribe, rate, and review. It lets us get better at bringing you this beautiful piece of content. And if you're watching YouTube, Twitch, Nesson.com, Facebook, wherever you're watching, do the same. Subscribe and leave us some comments. You give us some good comments, they might make the show. Tay, I'll bring you back on in a little bit to talk about your reformed life as a Lakers fan. What's next for your franchise? But I want to open up the show talking about what just went down. Because picks came and went, 2 rounds are done, and, undrafted free agents are getting signed right now to 2-way contracts. And it's honestly and genuinely, you want to congratulate all the guys that had their dream come true of getting drafted into the NBA. We all, including me, leading up to these last 2 days, have been hitting how this is one of the weakest drafts we've seen in recent memory. Number 1 overall pick, Zachariah Sacher. The 2nd overall pick, Alex Sarr. Down to the last pick in this draft. I joke about Bronny James Jr. being the top prospect in this whole thing. Yes, they kept hearing about it's weak, but no matter what we say, including I, a dream came true. And to those guys, you want to give them their credit and their flowers because they set out whenever they first picked up a basketball, whenever they first fell in love with the game, whenever they first fully poured themselves into it. The dream is obviously to play in the association, but the dream is also to get their name called, be picked by a team, put that hat on, shake the commissioner's hand, or if it's day 2, just get that phone call. I always think back to Jaylen Brown on the day he was drafted. He was a good player on a bad Cal team and a prospect very raw with a lot of question marks around him. And when he was drafted, he was booed, and he remembers that to this day. But he said himself he will go to war for this city. And I think of that Jaylen Brown who grew through his role as a 6th man, a guy off the bench, to a 3-and-D player, to who is now a NBA Finals MVP. And I said it on this same program. He was the best player in these playoffs. He was the best player in these finals for the Celtics, for them to finally break through and get their first title, what him and Jason Tatum accomplished. But I think of that Jaylen Brown that was booed on draft night, and all the haters and naysayers not liking the pick, not agreeing, and he didn't care. And then I think to the Jaylen Brown that was holding the Finals MVP trophy on the court with the confetti falling, when the Celtics finally won the title, hugging his mom as she is crying into his chest, tears of joy. And you see him composed as ever because he knows what he just accomplished for him, for his family, for everyone that's been in his corner all throughout his process. These same guys, they have to keep that in mind. The criticism will come. If you're in Boston, New York, Philly, LA, the basketball starving and hungry cities, even if you're in the smaller markets throughout this league. One of my favorite quotes has always been, never let fear determine who you are and never let where you come from determine where you're going. These guys aren't going to listen to me. They're not going to watch this video and go, you know what? I now want to be an NBA champion because George Bilecki said on Hold My Banner on this day in June, that inspirational quote. That's something I always embody with myself through this weird journey in this unique industry that I work in. I love sports. I love what I do. I love working with people like Ante Campbell and Travis Thomas and everyone behind the scenes as well that makes these podcasts happen. But you have to remind yourself, people are going to tell you time and time again, you're not going to do squat. They're going to be haters. They're going to give you every reason why you should give up, go in a different path. For all the dudes coming over from Europe, why they should have stayed overseas and just played pro ball there. But if they keep that in mind and they just stick with the process that got them to this point, because they just won the lottery. They are one of the few, one of 60 people that were drafted by an NBA team in 2024. Out of everyone that plays a sport around the globe, they just won the lottery. And the ones that love it and are real hoopers, man, it will take them far. They get a long career in the NBA, great. They don't last. They fizzle out, go back to Europe. Who cares? They got to this point. And to the ones that will win an NBA title, whether it's them leading a team or being on that roster, I want to give them credit. Because I have been the one saying, as many people have, and it was a weak draft. But you know what? You know what a weak draft is? A draft with an asterisk? You getting picked and having that asterisk next to you? Yeah, well, it's not the best one. Next year, let's look to... Who cares? You're on a roster. You're on a team. Someone picked you. Someone's going to invest in you. So I just want to give them their credit. Let's bring Ante back into this one. Because I'm wondering what you're thinking, too, as someone that you poured your life into hoop. And I've seen you play at Fresno. I know your journey took you to UTEP.
Yeah.
As someone now that sees these dreams happening, what goes through your mind when you're seeing these guys get their names called?
I think it's just a beautiful moment. Honestly, that's all that goes through my mind. It's like, man, these dudes have got to the mountaintop, but now this is where the work begins. That's what I always think.
Mm-hmm.
I always watch to see which guys really react the most to, like, hey, this is the moment, you know what I mean, blah, 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 whatever. And I also watch to see which guys are calm, cool, and collected. The ones that are the calmest usually pan out to have pretty good, decent careers. Not saying that you can't if you're crying and all that other stuff, because it is a big moment, and we want to see that emotion out of you, that you're excited to get the opportunity to play for an NBA team. But sometimes that can be a little bit telling. So I watch to see that because it gives me a little hint to the guy who's like, all right, I'm ready for Summer League and I'm ready to take on that challenge. So I'm excited for a lot of these young guys to get their opportunity to be in the NBA. I know people are saying, oh, this is a weak draft, blah, blah, blah. But I think we're going to look back and look at this draft, and we're going to say, wow, there was a lot of great role players, a lot of guys that are loved in their cities that they play for. Maybe not the best player on their team, but one that gets a lot of credit for wins nonetheless. So I'm excited to see what these young guys can do.
You know, we think back when I was last on this with you, we did the redraft in 96, right?
Yeah.
Who was the 13th pick in that draft?
Kobe Bryant.
There you go. You know, and I'm not saying anyone at the time is saying that was a weak draft. We look back on it now and we go, oh my God, what a draft it was.
Right.
Kobe, Nash, AI, all in that. Jermaine O'Neal, don't need to get into the names. But people saw Kobe in that question mark and they doubted him. Mm-hmm. He's one of the best players to ever play the game, right? I think that's what it all goes into. And I agree. It's cool to see the guys have that emotion. Because you know what I think when I see that, to me it is they're not reacting just on them getting their name called, but they know everyone that put something into them getting to that point. The relief they may feel, the appreciation, the gratitude, it's overwhelming. But you're right, the guys that are calm, and I think that's the biggest thing, the guys that are calm, they know. Whatever work they put in to get to that point, to get drafted, it's not even going to come close of what they need to do to get to that next level and thrive in the NBA. Because you get to that point, and everyone can play. You want to talk about the draft picks that the Celtics made, man? 2 good picks for them.
Yeah, they did make 2 really good picks. Obviously, we know that Shireman came in from Creighton on Wednesday night. That was an absolutely large pick for this team. Now, coming in to hold my banner, as you guys heard from me on Wednesday morning, I wanted the team to take Filipkowski, and I think Jason Tatum a little bit alluded to wanting the team to take Filipkowski because he's going to be a great big in this draft class. But Baylor Shireman out of Creighton fits in so well with this team. And I think Watson, who they ended up taking in the second round from Gonzaga, is another great forward that really kind of this team is really looking for. I said it to you in person the other day, but this team is looking for that Porzingis replacement because he's going to be the guy that ends up leaving this group first. At least that's what we project. You know what I mean? They're looking for that replacement, and both of these guys are elite shooters. That's the one thing that the Boston Celtics and myself have in common. We love elite shooting. Watson shot about 44% last year for Gonzaga on a lot of attempts. I think about 130 attempts throughout the season. And, Shireman was a great shooter at Creighton. We know they are really good at producing those. Doug McDermott, back in the day, go back all the way to Kyle Korver, another great shooter from Creighton back in the day. So I think he's going to project. Both of these dudes are going to be in the G League a lot this upcoming season, which is great for their development. They have some things that they do need to work on, but shooting is not one of them. Shireman's also a great rebounder, and the kid from Gonzaga, Watson, has a lot of great playmaking in him right now. So hopefully they develop the other parts of their game in Maine, and we see them a year, two from now, helping out what we project to be a Celtics dynasty. So I'm excited for it.
I like that big part you mentioned at the end in Maine, right? We can see these guys on two-way contracts. Anton Watson, 54th overall pick, 6'8", 233 out of Gonzaga, played 151 career games. Not crazy athletic, but can guard the 1 through 5. Yeah. And with Joe Mazzulla, you got to play both ends of the floor. Give him credit there. Go to Maine, learn the defense, come up, and if you show a higher ceiling than a guy like a Luke Cornett, if you show more athleticism than him, a higher capability, now Cornett has more height. Anton Watson, as I just mentioned, just 6'8". But again, can you play that 4-5, especially when you're in a big lineup like this? Only attempted 51 threes last season, but 41% from the floor. That's what you like. Mm-hmm. You hit it off the top. I think Baylor Shireman was a huge draft pick, a great pick made by the Celtics to go 30. Because what you get with Baylor Shireman is a 6'7" sniper from deep. This is a guy that shot 38% from three, averaging 8 threes a game. And the system he comes out of in Creighton is just like what Joe Mazzulla loves to do in Boston. I watch a lot of Creighton. I watch a lot of the Big East. I absolutely love the Big East to the death of me being a Seton Hall alum. Trey Alexander and Baylor Shireman made up a great defensive backcourt. Shireman's athleticism isn't there like crazy, but he hustles. He's high IQ, heady player, and a playmaker. But what Doug McDermott did with Creighton, and it's what Greg McDermott, did in Creighton, it's the same thing the Celtics do. Live and die by the three. Yep. It's not the percentage. It's how many you shoot. So for Baylor Shireman, he can slot in. And this is a lineup with a lot of questions. Kristaps Porzingis won't be able to play to start the season. Who knows what happens with Al Horford, now 38 years old, coming off not literally 101 games played, but 101 game season that he was there for the Celtics with. Drew Holiday, 34 years old, right? There are going to be minutes need to be eaten up. Shireman is a ready-made product. He's 24 years old. He's not a 19-year-old step into the league. The body, the maturity is there. He's played high-level basketball. When you draft a guy like him, a bigger guard, can shoot 38% from three, was shooting 8 threes a game. He's making 38% from the floor with 300 attempts in a season. It's not just 100. He can hit at that high clip, but what can you do with your role? Because now you come in, you go from being the guy at Creighton or one of the top 3 guys to you're playing 20 minutes a night. You're only getting 5 shots. You got to make threes. You got to heat up quick, stay hot, and be ready for your moment. But I think the Baylor Shireman pick by the Celtics was fantastic because, yes, I could see him going to Maine, learn the defense, get ready. I wouldn't be surprised for him to play significant minutes as a rookie. He can slot in. And look at the roster construction of this team right now. There's a team option they have on Sam Hauser. They exercise it, $2 million, no big deal. That could be accelerated up to $10 million with all the new CBA and the thresholds and levels, right, and all that, especially once Jason Tatum gets supermaxed. But if they stick with Sam Hauser, that's a guy that could teach Baylor Shireman to get into his role. If they move on from Sam Hauser, Baylor Shireman can step into that role. I think that pick at 30 was fantastic. I loved seeing Brad stick and pick in the first round and not move back, but also to go and get a guard like that. A great shooter, and I will say it again. I will say it one more time. I'll say it whenever I'm on Hold My Banner. Baylor Shireman is a 6'7" professional sniper from three. That's a great pick by Brad. He fits into that system because he comes from a Creighton team that shot an insane amount of threes and lived and died by it game by game to a Celtics team and Joe Mazzulla that wants to get 42 of those up a night per minimum. It's not about what you hit and the efficiency. It's can you make 15 or 16? Mazzulla, Shireman, they're going to be lock in step with that. And by the way, the kid gets to play off of Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, and Derek White. It's not like he's a top 5 guy on the floor. Yeah. He's going to have 2 elite wings on the floor with him most of the time. At least one of those 4. He'll be fine. I love that pick by Shireman. I like the Watson pick too. I think it's going to take more time, but both picks were good for the Celtics team. And this is a roster. Brad Stevens said in an interview he did recently, I'm going to respect the guys who just won a championship. I'm not going to change up much. But Brad Stevens also understands too. It's not the deadline isn't the offseason. Mm-hmm. The deadline to change your roster is February 10th or whenever the trade deadline is.
Yeah.
Just because of who you go into with in October doesn't mean who you have to be when it comes to February. Go ask the Dallas Mavericks that. They suck to begin the season. They made a few trades. They made it to the finals.
Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. But look, I wanted to ask you about this because a lot of people were upset with some of these draft picks. I know I've heard from some Laker fans they're not too happy, honestly, about the Bronny situation. Also,
don't blame them.
The Atlanta fans weren't too hot on the Zachary Richardson pick. So I just wanted to get your reaction to what you think about these draft selections, man.
I think Richardson, that's a team that really struggled defensively in the Hawks, and you don't even know what that lineup's going to look like. It's interesting because that is a team with a Clint Capella and Jalen Johnson. So that's your 4 and your 5, right? And Jalen Johnson's emerging. But what happens with Murray? What happens with Trae Young? He averaged 11 points per game in pro ball. I think that's really important what you understand when these guys come over from Europe. Can catch and shoot, can backpedal into a 3. I was watching his highlights right before we started this episode just to give myself a refresher. Can put the ball on the floor and attack the rim. He's smart at finding space. He's okay at finishing around the rim when it's contested, but he's shown that strength. 6'8", 6'9" wingspan. You're going number 1 overall, and you see an Alex Sarr who's 6'11" with a 7'3" wingspan, but a guard in a wing's body. That's where a guard in a big man's body, that's where I understand who you want. But also, you have to understand there's more to it. Alex Sarr refused to work out for the Hawks for a reason. Mm-hmm. And that's because his agent didn't want him going there. He didn't really get into it. He said it without saying it. Mm-hmm. So what you get, and you know what, Hawks fans, and I know what I said to open up this show. Mm-hmm. In a weak draft, you got a project out of France that could be a good key piece, hopefully to improving this roster to getting back to the playoffs. But you weren't going to get a Victor Wembanyama in this draft. That just was not going to happen. No. So with the Richardson, all of that, the people reacting to it, that's a pick. You got to make what you do at number 1. Would you like them to maybe trade back, get a Stephon Castle? Then you move on from those guards. You have a young piece. And then it could be Castle, Murray, and Jalen Johnson around. Not a bad idea. Mm-hmm. There's so much that goes on to these draft nights and the boards move. I wanted Alex Sarr. I want to see him go number 1 overall for multiple reasons. A, I wanted him to be in Atlanta, not DC. B, I think he should have been the number 1 overall pick. I understand why they'd be pissed off about that pick. It is too. And I know this isn't exciting. We're in the content business. What is it? Engagement farming. That's what they call it now. It's no longer clickbait.
Yeah.
I can't say this every day until the season starts. It'll be boring, and I'll be bored with myself. You have to wait. You got to be patient. And you can't say yes or no after one season. Go ask Philly and Michael Carter-Williams. Give it a few years, and let's see how pissed you Hawks fans want to be. What do you think about the Richardson name and the pick?
I think people are overreacting a little bit, right? This draft class, we knew it wasn't going to have that star potential. Like, we know that most of these dudes are going to be your 4th or 5th option as a starter, and then, maybe some guys that come off a bench. Most of them, right? I think Richardson has a lot of upside, you know what I mean? And I think when you get a first draft pick in the whole entire draft, you got to kind of go for the guy that could be the home run. Now, he has a lot of things that he needs to work on and that he needs to show, but I think he has a lot of tools that he's already shown that can really help out with this Hawks team that's going to be going through a rebuild, right? Clearly, I think this pick showed us that, because if they wanted to go for a guy who we seen more of and know more about and are more sure of as a player, but probably has a little bit of a lower ceiling, they would have went with Sarr, you know what I mean? Because they've been around that dude. They've seen him play a million times, which is why he didn't want to work out for the team, which makes sense. Like, they knew what they had with Sarr, but they aren't 100% sure where that ceiling could be for Recherche. So I respect them for taking a chance. And I don't think this team has ever had a first pick in the NBA draft. If they have, it's been a long time. So they have an opportunity.
It's been a while. They've had it before. They've had it before, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So, it's been a while. So they don't have a lot of experience with this. I don't mind them taking a shot on a big player. And who knows? We might look down the road and be like, hey, that was actually a really good pick from them. This kid is electric. So I don't mind it at all.
Tay, you don't remember 1975 when the Hawks picked David Thompson with the number 1 overall pick before he opted to play for Denver in the ABA? You don't remember that, bro?
No, I don't remember those days. I'm sorry, man. I don't even think my mom was born by then. So you have to forgive me.
No, you're good, my man. And you have to remember, jobs are on the line with these picks.
Yes.
You go with Research. You don't know what ownership's saying. You don't know how the GM or the head of the front office, president of basketball ops, views this guy.
Yeah.
And if your job is tied to that, you go with him. And again, for Hawks fans, I think it's an overreaction. You don't know who is going to be the best player on this team tomorrow, a month from now, or right before the season. We don't know what happens with Trae Young. Yeah. Now, I do want to discuss the Bronny James pick.
Okay.
Helen Keller saw this coming. Him at 55 overall going to the Lakers. It's been in the works from him refusing workouts with certain teams. My opinion has been the same with LeBron James Jr. and LeBron James. Dude, I think this story is great because LeBron James is going to play on the same team as his son, and it's not like LeBron James is a role player or barely seeing minutes. He's still one of the best players in the world.
Yeah.
But then there's also the discourse we've seen where Rich Paul comes out and talks about, well, nepotism works out when someone's dad founds a company and gives it to his son. He doesn't earn it, so we can't rip nepotism. That's fine.
Yeah.
I would assume when they hand a company to their kid, they look at him and go, you're ready, right?
Yep.
I can't look at Bronny and say he's ready for the NBA. Mm-hmm. I personally thought he should have stayed in USC with Eric Musselman, who has a track record of developing NBA talent, and work with him. Because you have to keep in mind, Bronny James averaged 5 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists per game, playing 19 minutes a night for a USC team that finished 9th in the Pac-12. If you were watching USC basketball, you would lose Bronny Jr. on the court. You would lose him. That's the biggest tell. Like, take everything out. If you don't know what to really watch for to scout these guys, who stands out when you're on an NBA floor?
Yeah.
It goes back to any level of basketball. If you're going to a high school game, who's the kid that jumps out? Oh, okay. Who's looking at him? D2, JUCO, D1? Mm-hmm. He was 27% from three-point range. He can't create his own shot. Can't really create on offense, put the ball on the floor. He's not a point guard. He's only 6'1". He's not that athletic. This is a kid that should have stayed back and developed. Then you have Rich Paul coming out and saying he's not signing a two-way contract. Dude, you know what's better for you to develop and get good at basketball? Play in the G League. If you don't want to play in college, go play in the G League, serious minutes against competition that you can compete with so you get better.
Yeah.
Not against the NBA where these guys won't give a of who's your dad. And it all comes back to that. And even Rich Paul, there was a great Bob Myers quote today, right before we hopped on here. He said on ESPN, I sat down, I sent it to you. Mm-hmm. Bob Myers on ESPN loved dropping this bomb. Rich Paul's calling teams. Don't take Bronny James. You take him, he's going to Australia. Good. Go to Australia. That's a better level of competition for you to develop at. And you know what I would have done if I was a team? I would have done it. I know you called me out last episode. I had to pull up my own receipt, right?
Yeah.
I said you draft him, hold him hostage in a way, trade for him. You called me Bill Simmons. And I thought I said it on this pod, and I thought I said it on the chat, and I didn't. I alluded to it. Mm-hmm. Then I went to Reddit. 39 days ago, I posted this.
Reddit, bro? Reddit? Really? Reddit. You're posting on Reddit?
I was responding through a thread on the NBA. I do like leaving my comments. This didn't get any upvotes, by the way, so not a lot of people like me on Reddit. Here's my response to what are the factors, what number do you think Bronny gets drafted?
Yeah.
This is my post. He should go second round highest, but I could see a team like the Magic at 18 or even the Jazz at the end of the first picking him. The hope of getting LeBron to play for you because you drafted Bronny is there. Or you trade him to the Lakers and get a haul back since it's his son. Weird to think of a hostage situation like scenario to draft him, but it's a truth. At best, you get LeBron and Bronny grows and develops. At worst, you burn a pick in a weak draft. It sucks too because maybe another year in college is good for Bronny. Musselman at USC now has a great track record of developing NBA guys. Moses Moody, Anthony Black, Isaiah Joe, Jalen Williams, just to name a few. He didn't stand out in college whenever he played, but playing is a better way to develop than sitting the bench in the NBA or grinding in the G League. But right now, grinding in the G League is a better option. Unrealistic expectations because of who he is rushed him to the draft. Naive people would think another year or two of him in college would mean he's a bust, but who cares as long as he gets there and has an impact. I don't think he's going to have an impact, Tay. Yeah. Kid was coming off a major health scare in the summer. We know how that affected him as well. We have to mention that. He had cardiac arrest. Who knows how that affected him? And maybe another year of him recovering from that. Maybe he blows the doors off everyone and goes, this is the Bronny James Jr. I am. End of the day, he's 6'1" and he's not an NBA player. I think he should have stayed in college. I think it would be great for him to develop in the G League. I'm surprised he's even playing in the summer league at this point. But we have to remember everything that went into this. It's let GM, let owner, let coach, LeBron James, and it's Rich Paul, who is the most powerful agent in the NBA. And it's not just teams staying away from drafting Bronny because Rich Paul told them not to. They don't want to piss him off because he represents so many superstars around the NBA. This Bronny Jr. thing is so interesting to me. And I have a strong opinion on it because I don't think they're setting this kid up for success. And I don't know if he's actually going to enjoy it. Now, I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but I do wonder, is this how he wants it to go down? Because it is ridiculous. And deep down inside, like, does he listen to the comments? Does he listen to what people say? I don't know. I want this kid. I would love to see Bronny Jr. I'm a LeBron James fan. Like I said, we opened it. I'm a free agent basketball fan. I love individuals. LeBron James, Giannis, Tatum, SGA, Jalen Williams, those are some of my favorite players around the league. And man, of course, right? And I'm not going with any crazy sexy picks. Those are superstars.
Yeah.
I would love to see Bronny Jr., and I will not penalize him for who his dad is. I would love to see Bronny Jr. have a long, successful career in the NBA. And if he is just an impact guy, he's not even a top 25 guy in the league, who cares? You're in the NBA for a long time. You won. I just don't know if this plan for him coming in as a rookie makes that happen. I don't know. I'm sorry I cursed because that's going to be a mother effort for you to go out and edit, Tay. But when I drop those 4-letter words, I mean it, man. I mean, this is something you and I are going to talk ad nauseum. I'm going to bug you all the time. I'm going to be asking you about him in LA, what you know, because obviously you're more embedded in that, following the team. But I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be keeping up. I want to see him succeed. But it's to the point, too. Did Rich Paul and LeBron do what's best for Bronny? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think this situation was best for Bronny, but we're in it now. I'm one of those people where you end up where you're supposed to be at, and we're in it now. You brought up one thing, not an NBA player. I would preface that by saying, not an NBA player yet. He did need one more year. And he didn't need, yes, you're right. He needed one more year in college, but we didn't get that, right? So we're here now. What needs to happen now, right, is – don't want to do the two-way, whatever. All right, you're going to waste a roster spot on him? Fine. He's going to ride the bench, but when he's not playing in those NBA games or traveling with the NBA team, or if they have a homestand, he needs to be playing in El Segundo, man. He needs to be playing with the South Bay Lakers, preparing and working on his game, right? And I know how this goes. I'm going to tell you exactly how this goes, right? You get your name called. That's equity in the G League. So when he gets to the G League, no matter if a dude was already playing there all the time and he's a straight G League player and he's averaging 20 a game, all the shots go to Bronny. All the plays go through Bronny when he comes down to the G League. So when he gets there, all I want him to do, and I know some coaches in LA that would be willing to do it, and I know some guys who used to coach the G League Lakers who I know would do it as well, but just pull Bronny out the game if he doesn't take shots. You got to give him that John Shire, Jared McCain kind of treatment where it's like, bro, if you're not shooting the ball 20 times a game, you're sitting down. You're sitting down. because he needs to be aggressive. We know he has the skill set. That's not in question. I don't think he's a bad shooter. He's a good shooter. You know what I mean? He's a good playmaker. But it's about volume. We didn't see it in college. We didn't see it much in high school, to be honest. You know what I mean? Before his senior year, he needs to get his volume up, because when he gets mad, as Gilbert Arenas well pointed out when he worked out with him when he was a little bit younger, he shows everybody that he's one of the better players in his class. But why does it take that in order to get there? You know what I mean? So that's my only thing that I have to say about this. And we have to switch off of this, and I could talk about it in length with you. You know that I can.
We ain't done. We got a long time to talk about it.
Yeah, so Bronny talk will continue on, but now I got to switch it over to my favorite part of the show, man. Wick it or kick it, George.
Let's do it.
So obviously we know this is draft edition episode, so we got to show off some of these draft picks. This one is Zachary Recherche, the number 1 overall pick from the Atlanta Hawks. What do you think of his draft day fit?
What is that, wool? What is the quality? What's the fabric of that suit? I hate it. This is rolling into 8th grade dance. You just went to Men's Warehouse, got a random suit. Thank you, Greg, our director. What is that? Is that reptile? Okay, now I'm intrigued. No matter what, I don't hate the color. It's all about what comes together. You want to go gray on gray? You need something that pops more as the tie. Don't go with that light blue suit. And this is where I'm big, and I know Baggy's back and everything. What are the pants, bro? I need no break. Are those Air Force Ones? Yeah, I need no break. And you're tall, so that's a lot of fabric on the legs. But if you want to go with break, get me a little baggier there. But overall, man, this is giving me 8th grade dance vibes. I've never put on a tie before. Dad, can you tie this for me? And he did. I hate that light blue with the gray tie on the light gray suit. Absolutely hate it.
Give me
biggest day of your life. Biggest day of your life, and that's what you're rolling in with? I'm sorry, bro. No, the tie's not even tight. You can see it. Come on. You can see it just coming out the left side of his neck. Tie the knot, bro. You know what? Alex Sarr is going to be good. Recherche, bust. It's all about the details. Recherche, bust.
You know,
opposite side is he doesn't care what he looks like. Go. I've done enough.
You know what this reminds me of, man? This reminds me of that movie with Martin Lawrence and Will Smith, the most famous movie that they have together. And
Bad Boys?
Bad Boys for life, you know, Bad Boys. And he's sitting there, and the kid is taking the daughter out for a date.
And he opens, he's at the front door. Will Smith, they're both playing bad cop. The mom's being nice. Keep going, you keep going.
He looks like that, but that kid got punked on that movie. He looks like that he would get punked when he walked to the door. On that one. Just a nice guy. But look, let me tell you about the fit, though. The gray on gray suit with this like blue, white shirt. It just
blue.
I just want to do snoring noises in the mic right now. It's just making me sleepy, bro. It's boring. And I was singing the song a little bit, but give me 2 pair. I need 2 pair. I got you stepping in that Air Force Ones. Yeah, it's lame. It's played out. I'm tired of seeing the all-white Air Forces, bro. You know, they always say, like, the Europeans hate Americans, but then they steal all of our shoes and our fashion.
That's what I thought with the Air Force Ones.
So this one is a kick it for me as well. But, all right, let's switch it over to a guy who I think is dressed a little bit better. Let's show off Rob Dillingham's fit from his draft night. What do you think of this one, George?
He can pull it off. I can't. I love this fit. Greg, can you zoom in on the feet and the ankles for me? Because I want to start with the pants here. Because, Tay, you know the details behind it all. Yeah. All right, I love the Chucks. I bet those aren't normal Converses. And normally I'd knock a guy for bedazzling his suit. But if you look at, and again, look at the break here. But there's more style to the break, and I think it goes with the shoes better. Yeah. But to me, it's the whole fit. Look at the glitter around the ankles. Yeah. And now let's look at the rest of his suit because it matches with his cuffs on his sleeves. Yeah. Then whatever all this stuff is, all these pins on his jacket. Again, I can't see myself wearing this, but I like the no tie with the chain. Yeah. I like the glasses, the spectacles. Look sharp. Yeah. Head to toe. there's an assignment you have to hit. Man, look at that bling. All right, these pins, holy cow. What are
Yeah.
those, like 30K each per piece on him?
Sheesh.
This dude knew the assignment, knew it was the biggest day of his life, knew it would be all eyes on him. Did not know he'd be ending up in Minnesota with Ant Edwards, but he made a statement. This is wicked, bro. Love this.
Yeah, I'll agree. This is definitely wicked, and I'm a sucker for the Chucks, like you pointed out. I love the Chuck Taylors, man. They're probably not regular Chuck Taylors, but we can't see all the details on them. I also like the way the pants flow over at the bottom, like you were talking about, and cover the back of his shoes. It's just a dope look, man. This dude just exudes aura. He just exudes aura. He's a swaggy guy on the court, and he dressed like it the other night on the draft. So I love this fit. I don't know. As far as draft fits go, I probably got to go like an 8.2. It's not the craziest fit, but I love the spectacles because it throws me back to the D Wade days. You know, I grew up a huge Dwayne Wade fan, so I almost want him to wear a flash Band-Aid under his eye while he's wearing the glasses. So yeah, I'm gonna go wicked. I'm going to say like 8.2 on this one.
My first pair of pro shoes I've ever gotten, purchased, whatever, was the Dwayne Wade's. I go 7.7 on this. I like it. It's wicked, but I'm a 7.7 on this.
I'll take 7.7. I'm probably a little bit higher on him because I like his style of play. But all right, another guy that I like the style of play, Jared McCain, man. He's a huge TikTok star, so we have to look at what he's wearing on the draft. What do you think of this one, George?
This is tough. Where's he from, Tay? What's his hometown?
He's from Corona, man. He's a Southern California kid.
Really? Okay. This is wicked. I like it. It's tough with the crop top, like, suit jacket. Like, if you told me that, I'd be like, there's no way in hell. And I don't think he's wearing a shirt under, which is tough to me.
Yeah.
But again, there might be something there. I don't know. With the chain, Jared McCain's a unique cat, right? Paints his nails, big on TikTok. I know this.
Yep.
Crop top jacket. It takes a unique dude to pull that off. This is a wicked to me. Without seeing the full fit, I would give him a 7.5.
Okay.
But it's, again, tough. I like it, though. I don't know. I even like that the sleeves are shorter, so he's going baggy.
Yeah.
But it's still a tight fit. Right down. Oh, look, and you see he painted his nails black. The nails match the suit. I'm going wicked on this one. 7.9.
Yeah, you know what this fit reminds me of? My anaconda don't want none unless you got buns, Hans. You know that.
I can do the whole song off rip.
He looks like a MC Hammer type of fit, but I gotta like it.
Those pants, the parachute pants.
You know what I mean? I would love to see what he had on his feet. I couldn't find a picture with the whole entire fit or a picture with his shoes on, so I have no idea what he's wearing to wrap up this fit. The other guys are wearing some streetwear stuff. I was hoping that he was wearing something a little more dressy and casual to go along with this fit, but I like it for a lot of the same reasons that you said. He's a different kind of dude, so to have the crop top kind of suit, I kind of liked it. You know what I mean? I absolutely hate. Look, let me tell you all this. I absolutely hate wearing a suit with no shirt underneath. I think it's the dumbest thing that's ever been invented. You need to wear a shirt underneath, even if it's just a plain white tee, you know what I mean? Wear something. But I like this fit for him, and I love the jewelry that we're showing off here as well. It's just
David
dope.
Yurman, maybe? I don't know. That's nice.
It's nice. It's beautiful. It's probably worth a lot more than what I got on right now. So I'm going to go wicked on this fit as well. I think I like this one a little bit more than the Dillingham one, even though I don't like certain aspects of it. So I'm going to go 8.3.
It's the same of why I asked where he's from, and you said Southern Cal. This is giving me European vibes. You're rocking this in Paris last week? He'd be perfect. You're feeling it. Like this guy, I mean, this guy just got the bag, right? The NIL deals and everything. Like he's every marketing manager's dream. This dude, if you give me, a nice bank account, you give me this and drop me into like Monaco or Saint Tropez or Nice, Ez, I'm rocking this with utmost confidence. Because I know Trav always goes, Ante, would you wear this right now in Boston, out in Southie? I would not wear this in Boston because it'd be wasting a good fit. I'd wear this in Europe. I'd rock this.
Okay, yeah, I agree. I like that. All right, but let's switch it over now and talk more about the draft. Let's talk about some winners, all right? Who do you think won the draft?
I got to go Timberwolves. We spoke about Rob Dillingham going there, but to add Stephon Castle, two guys that are going to get eased into the NBA playing off of Anthony Edwards. And this could be a team that could add another piece. Who knows if Karl Anthony Towns may be on the move. But you got Stephon Castle, who is a national championship, great defensive guard, needs to improve his shot. And then Rob Dillingham. Both these guys coming from Blue Bloods, right? Mm-hmm. Dillingham, great shot, great creator, great slasher. And they're going to learn from Anthony Edwards. I got to start with the Timberwolves are a winner. I put the Wizards as a winner because Alex Sarr fell to them. Yeah. And then finally, your boy, who you put on my radar, AJ Mitchell, going to Oklahoma City because he's going to get hooked up with Chip Engelland, one of the best shooting coaches in the NBA. Yeah. He's going to be in one of the most efficient offenses, and he'll take a while, right? He'll be in the G League for a minute and then come up. But to get into that situation playing with SGA and Jalen Williams and one of the most talented teams in the NBA, who was the 1 seed in the West, I think it's a great landing spot for him. And that's a team, as we know with the Thunder, they draft and they develop. I think it's a great landing spot for him. So that's why I point out AJ Mitchell, the individual, as a winner here. What about you? Who are your 3 winners?
Yeah, I have the T-Wolves as a winner as well. I think Rob Dillingham and Terrence Shannon Jr. are going to be electric for them. They needed scoring. That was the thing that they went into this offseason knowing that they needed to get better at. They got 2 guys who fill it up quick and are competitive on the defensive end. That's the only thing that you ask for out of guys as defenders.
True.
Sometimes you can't really mess with the tools, right? These guys aren't the biggest guys with the biggest frames, but they will compete. Jose Alvarado isn't the biggest guy, but he's a great defender in the NBA. So I think Dillingham is one of those guys who does like taking on the challenge like Ant. You said that he's going to learn from him. I think that's the biggest thing that he's going to take away from him, so I love that. Also, I think the 76ers really won this draft. Huge for them to go get another guy, a lot like Maxey. He has a lot of the similar makeup. I think he's going to be able to fill it up with Jared McCain. We just showed off his fit, but he's a great basketball player as well. I know TikTok, people don't like that. People want to make fun of him painting his nails and putting earrings in and whatever, but all of that doesn't matter as long as you have the results on the court, right? And I think he's done that throughout his career. He did that when he was in high school, McDonald's All-American. He did that in college at Duke, took them on a great run throughout the NCAA tournament. He's going to be great for them. And then on top of that, going into the second round, they got Adam Bona from UCLA, another really good big who does a lot of things on the defensive end really well, passes the ball really well. His offensive game needs some things to work on, but that's what you got Joel Embiid for. They needed a backup big to help out Joel, so I'm going to roll with them as my second team. Then my third team, surprisingly, was the Jazz. I was going through these teams, and I was looking at them. I love the Cody Williams pick. He's cut from a different cloth. Him and his brother Jalen are great all-around players. The Jazz really needed a guy who can come in and do a lot of different things and fill in a lot of different roles because they don't have much, honestly, on their roster right now that's consistent. He's a guy who's going to end up being consistent for them a year or two from now. He fits their timeline. Then Isaiah Collier. He came in to this draft as the number 1 guy. Into this year as the number 1 guy. Ended up sliding all the way down to them late in the first round. I think he's going to be a great guard for them that's dynamic, extreme playmaker. No question about the playmaker that he is. He's going to be able to do that. He finishes well at the rim. I don't think they have a lot of that unselfish, willing teammates on that Jazz team. He's going to be big in that role. And then they got Kyle Filipkowski, who I obviously wanted the Celtics to get, which I talked about in the last episode. They didn't get him. The Jazz did. He's going to be a great big to pair along with the guy Will from Auburn. They have another chance to win this draft, had a great chance to win this draft, and they went out and did it. So I love the 3 draft picks that they got. Shout out to the Jazz. Let's quickly go over our losers, and then we'll close this thing out. Who do you think lost this draft?
I got to correct myself very quickly. It says Stephon Castle and Dillingham to the T-Wolves. It's Dillingham and Terrence Shannon Jr. to the Timberwolves. I was thinking of my loser, which is the Spurs, because it could have had Castle and Dillingham. They traded Dillingham for picks in 2030 and 2031. What are you doing? That would have been a great backport with Wemby. Alex Sarr is my loser because he ended up in D.C. And then Bronny's my loser because he went into the draft and he won't develop the way he should in college. Who are your 3 losers?
I don't even have 3. I have 2. That's how much I really thought these 2 teams lost. The Bucks, and the Memphis Grizzlies. I didn't like the Bucks getting A.J. Johnson, and I didn't like the Grizzlies taking Edey. I think they needed a lot of help on their wing, and I think the Bucks needed a guy that could help them win right now, and they went and got a 19-year-old project instead, and the Memphis Grizzlies are a team that play extremely fast, and they went and got one of the slowest bigs in the entire draft. So I didn't like that pick out of them at 9, so those are my 2 losers.
Yeah, I agree with those. I hated that ED pick as well. It made 0 sense to go with John Morant and that fast-paced offense. And the same thing, Bucks need something right now. They got to show Giannis that they're working to get him the best team possible. And I just don't see it happen, especially playing with Dame. We always end the show with last thoughts. You guys got it from me. I'll go back to my losers on this one, but I got to put it on record. As much as I went through the process for Bronny, I hope he succeeds. I hope he does well in the NBA. I would never wish the demise of anybody. But this was Hold My Banner. I'm George Balecki. He's Ante Campbell. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you always catch new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Catch the chat, which is daily, Monday through Friday, wherever you get your podcast. We'll see you guys next time. Later.